This video is a brief but comprehensive overview of the Iron Age, one of the three great metal ages through which humanity slowly transitioned from prehistory into recorded history. The Iron Age followed the Stone, Copper, and Bronze Ages, periods during which humans built their first cities, states, and empires. Importantly, the Iron Age did not begin at the same time everywhere. Different regions entered it at different moments, which is why historians often speak of the Iron Age in China, the Iron Age in India, or the Scandinavian Iron Age. However, when the term Iron Age is used without qualification, it most often refers to the Near East, or Western Asia, the cradle of many early civilizations. The Bronze Age collapse. By the late Bronze Age, the Near East was one of the most advanced regions on Earth. Vast cities thrived. Long-distance trade networks stretched across continents. Economies boomed. Empires fielded massive armies, practiced complex diplomacy, and displayed both remarkable sophistication and petty rivalries not unlike those of the modern world. But after nearly 2,000 years of gradual development, this interconnected system of great powers was struck by a perfect storm. Endless wars between rival empires weakened states. Trade networks collapsed. Economies failed. Plague spread. Raiders poured in from the mountains, deserts, and seas. Together, these disasters shattered the most advanced civilizations of the age. Cities were abandoned. Irrigation systems destroyed. Farms left to rot. In some regions, even literacy vanished for centuries. Civilization entered one of its darkest chapters, and it was in this chaos that the Iron Age began. A world in ruins. In the century following the Bronze Age collapse, former great powers like Egypt, Assyria, and Elam attempted to fill the massive power vacuum. All failed. Exhausted, overextended, and internally fractured, these once mighty empires devolved into pale imitations of their former glory. Populations declined, civil wars erupted, and economies crashed. Ironically, these declining authoritarian states were among the better places to live. Elsewhere, the region fragmented into countless small, semi-nomadic clans and tribes. Advances in art, architecture, science, and agriculture slowed to a crawl. Human ingenuity increasingly focused on one thing: war. The metal problem. The greatest challenge of the age was material. Bronze, the backbone of Bronze Age warfare, was suddenly scarce. Bronze requires about 90% copper and 10% tin. While copper existed locally, tin was rare and usually imported from distant lands such as Central Asia, Britain, and the Iberian Peninsula. When long-distance trade collapsed, bronze production collapsed with it. Stone and copper could be used, but both were inferior. Iron ore, however, was relatively abundant. Iron smelting had been known for centuries, but early iron was poor quality, soft, brittle, and unable to hold an edge. The first great breakthrough of the Iron Age was carbonization, adding carbon to iron to make it harder. Cast iron was stronger but brittle. Wrought iron was flexible but soft. Over time, blacksmiths discovered tempering, forging layered metals, and, most importantly, controlling carbon content. When carbon levels reached about 0.5%, true steel was born. Where and how this knowledge spread remains unclear, records were lost, and chaos ruled the land. Survival strategies. Different civilizations adapted in different ways. Assyria and Elam were besieged on all sides by raiders and mountain tribes. Egypt, instead of fighting endlessly, chose a different strategy: money. Egypt emptied its treasury and hired its enemies. Libyan tribesmen, once Egypt's most dangerous foes, were recruited en masse into the Egyptian army. Among Egypt's mercenaries were the Pele set, one of the feared sea peoples. After their defeat, Egypt resettled them along the eastern frontier. Over time, they merged with local Canaanites and became the Philistines. The return of cities. Urban life was devastated across the Near East, but recovery began in the Levant, along the eastern Mediterranean coast. In the north, surviving Hittites formed loose confederations of city-states. Between neo-Hittite and Philistine territories, indigenous Canaanites, long dominated by empires, finally began to prosper. The northern Canaanites, known today as the Phoenicians, revived long-distance trade and grew immensely wealthy. Mesopotamia, once the apex of civilization, was overrun by nomadic herders, most notably the Arameans, fierce warriors who terrorized the region. Though powerful, they never fully united. Had they done so, they might have forged a great empire. Farther west, Greece experienced near-total collapse. For centuries, little recovery occurred beyond scattered settlements. Iron changes everything. As ironworking improved, weapons became cheaper and more effective. Unlike bronze, iron did not depend on rare trade networks. Even small states could now equip large armies. This shift made conquest more difficult and may explain why no massive empire initially dominated the early Iron Age. But one state would change everything. The rise of Assyria. By the late 10th century BC, Assyria re-emerged, battle-hardened, ruthless, and technologically advanced. Assyrians believed their god demanded constant war. They raided relentlessly for iron, horses, and tribute. With vast iron reserves, they equipped even common soldiers with armor and steel weapons. They pioneered cavalry warfare, replacing chariots, and revolutionized siegecraft with battering rams and mobile towers. Most importantly, they created the first professional standing army, capable of campaigning year-round. Assyria's terror tactics were infamous. Cities often surrendered without a fight. They also invented a form of imperial citizenship. Conquered peoples could become Assyrian by worshipping the state god and serving in the army. Ironically, this led to Aramaic becoming the empire's dominant language. Empires rise and fall. Assyria reached its peak in the 7th century BC, but hatred brewed beneath the surface. Rebellions erupted. Babylon revolted. The Medes allied with Babylon and destroyed Assyria. The Babylonian and Median empires briefly flourished, until they were swept aside by the Persians, who built the largest empire the world had yet seen. The Persians failed to conquer Greece. Macedon succeeded. Under Alexander, Persia fell. After his early death, his generals divided the empire, ushering in the Hellenistic Age. Some historians mark this as the end of the Iron Age. Others place it earlier or later. Ultimately, the Iron Age is an academic framework, a tool for understanding transformation. Conclusion. The Iron Age witnessed humanity's recovery from near-apocalyptic collapse. Iron empowered small states, reshaped warfare, enabled vast empires, and shifted the balance of power across continents. From tribal chaos emerged global empires. From ruin came resilience. Humanity fell, then returned stronger than before. Thank you for watching. This has been Epimetheus. And thank you to my incredible supporters.